All right, thank you all for your patience while we had technical difficulties. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Board of Zoning meeting. The record shows 6:35 is when we start. Would everyone please rise for the pledge? All right, Andy, will you take us through roll call, please?
Rick Jacobs.
Here.
Nathan Sturdevant.
Here.
Amanda Jeschke.
Here.
Joel Bollender.
Here.
And Dan Justice.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I'd like to have a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 29, 2024 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting agenda.
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, moving forward, has all members had an opportunity to look over the January 25th meeting minutes? All right. I'm looking for a motion to approve or approve with, if there's corrections or additions.
I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, passes. All right, we have two cases up tonight. The first case is variance 01-2024, located at 313 Illinois Street. It's a garage conversion. Adam, would you take us through the presentation, please?
Right. First, I wanted to introduce, excuse me, Liz McCright. She is our new part-time planning and building administrative assistant. So she will be replacing Andy in this capacity as the recording secretary. So Andy is, Andy's obviously done a great job for us. the
Absolutely.
last few years, so
All
he'll,
right.
he'll show her some pointers, but.
All right.
All right, so hopefully I don't get, a kink in my neck here, but bear with me. So. All right, so the first case on the agenda tonight is for 313 Illinois Street. The owner and the petitioner is Dave Bennett of JDR Real Estate Services LLC. And the zoning on the property is residential 3.5. The property is currently being used today as a single-family residential property. So the request before you tonight is that Mr. Bennett would like to convert an existing metal garage into a second dwelling unit on the property. And the garage is about 1,536 square feet. The livable square foot in the planned unit would be about 1,248. And in order to convert the garage as desired, the BZA must approve the following variances. First one is a use variance. That's because pole barns or metal buildings are prohibited in the R3.5 zoning district. So it is grandfathered only insofar as it could be used for storage or for vehicles as was originally intended. He would also need 3 development standards variances from the board tonight. One would be to allow a dwelling unit closer to the property lines than 6 feet as required. Second one would be that 2 units are allowed in this zoning district, but each unit must be a minimum of 1,100 square feet. The current home is technically just under 1,100 square feet at 1092. And then lastly, the zoning ordinance requires that only 1 primary structure is allowed per lot, and this would have 2. So if we take a look at the parcel map and the aerial photo, you can see where the property is located. It is, of course, on the north side of Illinois Street between Leland and Center Street. And if we take a look at this oblique aerial photo, this was taken more recently. You can see the renovations that Mr. Bennett recently did to the house and the garage. The property was in quite a bit of disrepair up until recently. But you can see the garage in question where the star is located. Then here's another angle. This is if we're looking off to the east. And of course, we can always refer back to these as needed. And this was a photo of the garage. It was recently taken. You can see the larger garage that he's looking to convert is in the back. And then this is the existing garage that's affixed to the current home, which I believe would be that small garage would be demolished as part of the project. If we take a look here, you can see the concept renderings that Mr. Bennett has provided. You can see the decorative stoop that he'd have as well as the decorative garage door. If we take a look, there are some different angles of this particular rendering. You can get a sense of what it would look like. And then here's some architectural elevations of the project. And then this is a floor plan, just to get a sense of what he's trying to do. All right, so in terms of the variances, as I mentioned, there are 4 variances that he would need. And this kind of gives another summary. It just mentions the citation from the zoning ordinance where it's applicable. In terms of the remonstrance to the variances, all the public hearing notice items have been completed. That included a sign posting, newspaper publication in the Greenfield Reporter, and a mailing to nearby property owners. And at least at this moment, not aware of any remonstrance, but there may be some folks in the crowd. We'll see. All right, so if you'll recall, we take a look at each of the boards asked to look at a variety of different decision criteria per state law. And in terms of the use variance, it's a little bit different than the development standards variances. So for the use variance, we'll go through this. And in my opinion, my professional opinion is in yellow. So the first item is that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I'd say yes, that's been met. Although an unconventional project in a neighborhood, allowing conversion of a metal pole barn into a dwelling unit on this particular property would not necessarily impact those items. Second decision criteria is the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. I say yes, that's been met. Investment and upgrades into the pole barn structure would likely not adversely impact the use and value of the adjacent area. Additionally, as I mentioned, our 3.5 zoning does allow for single and 2 unit buildings, so it's not inconsistent with the zoning density. Third item is the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. I'd say yes, that's been met. The pole barn has existed for quite some time, and the prohibition of metal pole barns in this zoning district has only been in effect since last year. The fourth item is the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. I'd say yes, that's been met. Now, the structure could be rented out for personal storage use like cars, boats, etc. But the zoning ordinance does not allow for, it does allow for a second dwelling unit in our 3.5 zoning. This just happens to be in that existing metal building. And then lastly, as far as the use variance goes, the approval does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan adopted. I'd say yes, that's been met. The 2016 comprehensive plan map shows this property as residential and its use is consistent with this designation. So based on that, my recommendation would be to approve variance number 1. The second item, all lumped together, those three development standards variances. First one is that general welfare test, again, very similar to the use variance test, that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I'd say yes, that's been met really for the same rationale that was previously mentioned. Second one is adjacent property. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Again, I'd say that's been met. Same rationale as previously mentioned. Also, no remonstrance has been received as of this moment. And then lastly, in terms of practical difficulty, the strict application of the terms of the chapter of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. I'd say yes, that's been met. The applicant is trying to make productive use of the property. The building is existing, so it's not practical to move it 6 feet away from the property lines. Also, the existing home is only 8 square feet smaller than allowed for one of the 2 units. And then lastly, for the second primary structure issue, there are 2 different housing structures involved, but they are only within a few feet of one another, and they are mostly on separate platted lots, although under one tax ID number. So based on that, my recommendation would be to approve variances number 2 through 4. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address those. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adam. All right, does the board have any questions to Adam at this time?
One quick question on the development. This is a retrofit, correct? I just saw windows and everything added to the property. This is not a new, completely new build in the same location, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Retrofit.
All right, of course, I have questions. So this is an existing pole barn structure that they're wanting to convert to a living unit. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do we know, how do our town ordinances read? Do we allow whether living to happen in a pole barn structure? And the reason I ask that is some counties do, some counties don't. Every jurisdiction is different, and it all comes back to the foundation of this property or of this structure.
Well, to answer that question, I would say that there would be 2 different criteria that's involved. One would be on the zoning side of things, and the other would be on the building code side of things. First, on the building code side of things, Fortville would not have anything unique. Everything would be based on the building codes that are affect statewide in Indiana. So on the building code side of things, if he can meet those requirements under those codes, then so be it. On the zoning side of things, which we're looking at right now, is the zoning ordinance doesn't prescribe one way or the other about whether or not you could have a pole barn or a metal building as a living quarters. It only says that the structure itself is not allowed in R 3.5 zoning, for example, and there are a handful of other districts where it's not allowed as well. So,
Okay, so it doesn't preclude living in a pole barn then here in town?
correct. It doesn't say specifically.
Okay,
right.
all right. My second question is, and I'm not even sure if this is a zoning question, but how are they going to, or how is the town going to handle, this will be 2 separate addresses because of fire and being able to find this newly, it's not an accessory structure now, it's an actual living area.
Yeah, for that, that issue's not a very challenging one. We could
Okay.
either assign a unit number. We could have 313 Illinois Unit A and Unit B, for
Okay.
example, or we could generate a separate number for that one as well.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. Anybody else? Okay. At this time, we have an opportunity in the agenda for the petitioner to come forward if they want to add anything more to the presentation than what Adam had. Is there anyone here tonight that represents the case? All right, if you'll come to the mic, say and spell your name and then your address. Yes, and then how you represent the case, if you're owner or architect or whatever.
Okay. My name's Dave Bennett, along with Josh Hartwell, owners of the property. I need to spell my name?
No,
Okay,
so sometimes they're a little difficult.
Right.
So we need it for the record, but no, you're fine.
okay.
So,
So are we good with?
Yeah,
this?
sure. Just in anything additional that you would like to add.
Okay, well, first I'd like to thank Adam for putting this together for us tonight. I think you did a really good job. One thing that we discussed is essentially this is two lots, two separate lots that are under one tax ID. So technically we could have 4 units under this zoning. We could have 4 doubles here or 2 doubles here. We're not asking for that. We bought this property about a year ago, and I think the neighbors or anybody that's drove by it has, seen that we've put a lot of money in it. We're trying to fix it up. The barn prior was used for storage. The issue with storage is stuff starts creeping outside, cars, engines, depending on, what they're using it for. We want to keep the property clean. We feel like probably the best use of this property would be, another dwelling unit versus storage and, the way it looked a year ago with cars and trailers and stuff scattered all over the yard.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other things to add to it? Okay. All right. Well, if that's all, you can have a seat. We may call you back up if we have any questions. All right. So now we have time in the agenda for public response, and this could be for or against comments or questions. Is there anyone here that has any concerns or would like to speak? If you'll come up. Yep, go ahead and come on up. Say and spell your name and your address, please.
My name is Candace Bell, and my address is 305 Illinois Street. So I'm right next to it, I guess, on the west. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, it looks tremendously better. I'm so thankful that that's done. Cosmetically, 100% better.
Mhm.
I've lived in that neighborhood for 30 years. I've had some water issues, unrelated perhaps to this, but when the new division went in behind me, they didn't make the place for the water to drain down on the property. And there was a lot of issues back then. And then since then, they corrected all those and it's been 100% better. I know there has been some water issues recently in my water. I don't know how they're going to fix a pole barn, but I don't know. I'm not a builder.
Mhm.
How to correctly fit in the plumbing and electric. I know that house. I've lived there 30 years. It's never been well maintained. Mine's not great maintained, but they've had numerous water issues, and the electric was replaced by some of the people that rented it, and I was very thankful for that. But I just know there's probably a lot of issues to redoing that one, and I don't want it to affect my property. Now, I had a fence that divided the property, and actually, I'm very glad that it's down. There's more, it looks nice, but it has kind of affected my property and just the way it looks. And then not saying that it's not bad, but there has been some effects, and I just was concerned about effects on my property.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right. I think, was there another hand that came up that had something to say? Okay, sure. Come on up. Again, say and spell your name and your address, please.
Mark Allison, Markallison. And I'm right next door at 317. And how's it going, guys? I just wanted to know if you could tell us or let me know what kind of effect it's going to have when you put in the utilities and everything. I'm assuming you have to dig up for to get to the sewer lines and such.
Okay. Well, just a minute. We're going to get all the questions and then we'll have you guys come back and address them all.
Okay, that's my big question right there.
Okay.
Just what I can expect, okay?
All right.
So we've talked before, just let me know what I can expect, okay?
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you. Is there anyone else that have any comments or concerns or questions? Is there anyone on Zoom? I always forget about our Zoom participants. Okay, then we'll have our petitioner come back up and address these two questions that we've heard tonight. One is the old water problems and how that might impact what you're doing and to this and the utilities.
My name is Josh Hartwell. I'm not aware of any type of water runoff issues now. We've owned the house for about a year. I've never seen any standing water in the backyard now. Essentially, we're not building any new structures, therefore there should not be any more runoff that, other than what's already there.
Okay,
She also addressed some concerns about electrical and plumbing of the existing structure, the current house. All it's been done, totally remodeled or replaced. According to the town, I think his name's Jerry, the building inspector.
okay,
I mean, whatever he asked for, we did to his perfection.
okay, perfect.
Far as,
As far as the utilities for the new retrofit.
so all the utilities are already on our property. Therefore, we should not leave our property in order to gain access to any utilities. The water line's already in the front yard, the sewer already comes in the front yard, so it's just a matter of excavating our own yard, getting them back there.
Okay,
The structure already has a electrical going to it. We just have to have it inspected and regenerated.
okay. Is there an alleyway behind this?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't foresee having to enter a neighbor's
At this point in
yard
time,
space
no.
to be able to do what you need to do?
At
to
this
do-
point in time, no.
Okay, all right. And should that arise, are you all willing to contact the neighbor and let him?
Well,
Oh,
definitely. I mean,
okay. I think that was a concern.
We'll fix anything.
Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions since we have the petitioner back up here? All right. Let's see then. All right. Timing and the agenda for the government officials that might be in the audience that have any comments. Oh, we have one. Come on down. This is not usual. It is.
Joe Rayner, Fortville Town Manager.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe they're just not aware, but as far as since it's a separate structure, it will be required to have its own water and sewer connection. It can't share with the existing dwelling. So you will have to dig up the street, connect it in the roadway. So, but you won't have to go to the neighbors. Everything's out in front. So-
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing anyone. All right. Do we have any clarification questions from the board here to Adam or the petitioner before we put this to a vote? Okay. I'm hearing silence. All right. Well, I'm looking for, I think we need to take these in two different chunks. One will be, how did you do this? One was the variance for, Adam, what did you call these? You had two different labels. Oh, right here. Yes, the use variance standards. Now, these are the same here. Hold on. Oh, okay. So let's do the use variance one first. I'm looking for a motion to approve, deny or approve with conditions.
I will make a motion to approve the use variance for 313 Illinois Street.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Do we have any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Congratulations. Motion carries on that one. Give us a second. We've got a little bit of paperwork here. All right, the second one on this is for the development standard variances. I'm looking for a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions.
I will make a motion to approve the development standard variances, all three setback, minimum unit size, as well as second primary structure for 313 Illinois Street.
All right,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Congratulations. All right, so give our board members a minute here to fill out their paperwork. All right, the second case up tonight is variance 02-2024, located at 519 North Merrill Street, metal garage. Adam, would you take us through that presentation, please?
All right. So the other case on the agenda tonight is for a project at 519 North Merrill. And this project is not in a platted subdivision. The owner and the petitioner on the project is Vasilis Makris. And the zoning on the property is residential 3.5. The property is being used for single-family estate residential, and it's about 2 acres in size. And so Mr. Makris would like to move and reassemble an existing metal garage that he owns in Fishers onto his property in Fortville. The garage is about 60 feet by 80 feet, so 4,800 square feet, and would be attached to an existing garage. And in order to do so as desired, there are a number of different variances he would need here tonight. And the garage would be used for personal storage of different classic vehicles that he has. So the first one is pole barns or metal buildings are prohibited in the R 3.5 zoning district. And then he would need 2 development standards variances. The first one would be to allow an accessory structure larger than 50% of the size of the home. And the second one would be to allow expansion of an existing non-conforming structure, materials and setback issues, which I'll get into momentarily. If we take a look at the parcel map, the aerial photo, you can see the area with the star is where the garage would be located. So this is the property that's on the north side of Merrill, right where Merrill curves as you come into Fortville. If we take a look at this oblique aerial photo, this is looking east towards the new apartment complex that's under construction. And again, you can see where that garage would be located is where the star is on the screen. If we take a look here at the basic plot plan, you can see how the garage would be attached to the existing garage. It'd be about 135 feet away from that north property line, about 30 feet away from the east property line, and about 70 feet from the west property line. And then the petitioner put together a basic rendering that shows the existing garage and how it would look on the property as we're looking east. So they had mentioned that the two garages would be colored, would be connected as one, and they will both be the same color with a stone facade, and the garage would match the facade of the home. And this was a rendering that the applicant had put together. You could see, I believe per the rendering, the plan is to do a stucco finish on it, as well as a decorative garage door with some brick finishes around different portions of the building. All right, so more specifically on these variances, we talked about the pole barn, we talked about the size of it. And then that third one is to allow expansion of an existing non-conforming structure. So more specifically, new accessory structures must be 15 feet behind the front plane of the home. So the existing structure is not 15 feet behind the front plane. They're basically adding on to that as part of the placement of this new building. Then there are some architectural standards that they wouldn't meet perfectly. For example, for a new build, they'd have to have a 9-inch roof overhang, and the total garage frontage not to exceed 50% of the width of the home. So when you're looking at the entire expanded structure, as we'll call it, it can't be more than 50% of the length of the house. This would exceed it. Also, the pole barns would need to have a minimum, well, any type of accessory structure would need to have a 6 to 12 roof pitch. And then lastly, would have to have 1x4 window trim. So based on the items that have been provided, those items would not be fulfilled. In terms of the remonstrance to this case, all the public hearing notice items have been completed, things like a sign posting, newspaper publication in the Greenfield Reporter, and a mailing to nearby property owners. And at least at this moment, not aware of any remonstrance, although we'll wait to hear from the public. As I mentioned with the last case, going through the decision criteria that's outlined in state law for a use variance and the staff opinions in yellow. So the first one is that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I'd say yes, that's been met. There's no evidence to suggest that allowing a metal garage on this property would impact those items. Second one is the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. I'd say yes, that's been met. This is a large 2-acre property, not within a subdivision, and the new structure would be quite a distance away from adjoining properties. In fact, as I mentioned, it'd be about 135 feet away from that property to the north. There is no evidence to suggest that it would affect adjacent properties in a substantially adverse manner. Third item is the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. I'd say yes, that's been met. The prohibition of metal pole barns in the zoning district has only been in effect since 2023, and this essentially involves expansion of an existing pole barn. Fourth item is the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. I'd say yes, that's been met. There is a mismatch in the zoning of this property of R3.5 and its size and use, which more align with the rural residential zoning district in which metal pole barns are allowed in RR zoning. And then lastly, for the use variance, the approval does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan adopted. I'd say yes, that's been met. The 2016 comprehensive plan map shows this property is residential and its use is consistent with this designation. So my recommendation would be to approve variance number 1. And then grouping the development standards variances together. For the general welfare test, again, I'd say yes, that's been met for the same rationale as previously provided. For the adjacent property test, yes, that's been met, same rationale as previously mentioned. And then lastly, for practical difficulty, that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. I'd say yes, that's been met. An existing building is planned to be relocated onto the property, and the applicant has proposed upgrades to its facade, including stucco, brick or stone accents, and a decorative garage door, all of which would enhance its aesthetics. So based on that, I'd recommend approving variances number 2 through 4, or 2 through 3 in this case. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them, and the applicant and his wife, Julie, is here as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adam. All right, we're going to start with the board here. Do we have any questions of Adam?
I do have a question. And this is in regards to the height of the new pole barn.
Mhm.
I know we had an issue with Jake's barn last year, Jake Burgess. Is this barn shorter than the primary structure? Like the
Yes,
house?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. That was the other issue.
I know that was a big.
Yeah, so
big
with
deal
this
last
one,
year.
we discussed that, and I believe it was shorter than, because it's a 2-story home.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Okay, anyone else here on the? Okay, so we have time for the petitioner to come up, say and spell your name and how you represent the case, and anything else that you'd like to add to Adam's presentation.
Hi, I'm Vasilis Makris. It's Vasilis. I'm the petitioner for this project, and we're wanting to relocate a pre-existing garage that we've had in Fishers for about 15 years now, where I house a personal collection, 35-year-old collection of automobiles and motorcycles. And we would like the permission to build it behind the existing smaller pole barn that exists on the property. We have placed the property, the expansion of the garage in a way to minimize a number of things, one of which is we're only taking down 2 trees to do this project, and it's a pretty heavily wooded lot with mature trees. As you all know, excuse me, all the trees behind us have been removed on the apartment complex. So we were very cognizant of the fact that we need to maintain the green as much as possible. We also have positioned it to maximize distances and impact to any of our neighbors. We've also pledged to our neighbors that we will add a privacy fence at the top of a berm that exists already on the north edge of the property to shield them from even seeing the garage for the most part. And we believe that this project is going to look nice, and it will not impact anyone adversely. So we ask for permission to build it.
All right. All right. I've got a quick question. The existing garage that's there now, are you going to reskin that or match the new?
Yes, we're planning on putting stone veneer and to match the new addition, and also we are planning to match the house with the 2 garages when we're all finished with the renovations of the house, which we're actually doing right now.
Okay. All right. Anybody else here on the board have any questions before I have him? Okay, you can have a seat, and we'll probably bring you back up to clarify some questions. Thank you. All right, we are now to the public response, and this is for or against. Comments or concerned. Does anyone here have any comments? If you do, please come on up. Looks like I've got a couple here, so you'll come up, say and spell your name and your address, please.
Charles Schutt, SCHUTT, 523 North Merrill. My Long Lane driveway connects with, there's only two houses that would be affected really, and that would be mine, and I have no issues with his expanding his garage at all.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. There's another, actually, there's a couple more. Okay. Well, go ahead. Yes, you, yeah, you're already up. Let's come on down.
Kathy Kennelly, with a K and a Y, Kennelly. Our property backs, we look directly at the side of that garage now. And we've spoken with Mr. Makris, and we feel satisfied that the fact that they're putting up a privacy fence is going to be aesthetically help us. And actually, it might even block those ugly apartments that are going up over there. And they're awful, by the way. Just had to say that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. Yep. I thought I saw one more person back there. You know the drill. Say and spell your name and your address.
Jeannie Poole, Poole, like swimming pool with an E on
Okay.
the end. 531 North Merrill. That is actually me looking from my house at that. I have no problem with it because again, it blocks those apartments that I don't have to look at. And it's just,
Okay.
I'm very satisfied with what they're wanting to do.
All right.
And that's
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was actually a delight for once. Okay. Do I have any government officials that would like to say anything for or against? Comments? Okay. I've got a shaking of heads. No. I don't think I need the petitioner back up unless the board here has any questions. Any additional questions? Okay. Because, there's no questions to answer. Well, at this time then, I'm going to turn this over to our board here. I'm looking for a motion, and we're going to do this again like the last one in two different ones, and we'll look at the use variance first. I'm looking for a motion to approve with conditions or deny. Before we do that, you said there was a berm already there, or you're putting an additional one? It's already there, so we don't need to put that into a condition. Adam?
No, but I would put, if you're inclined, a condition about a privacy fence on the north side of the property, just
Right, okay.
memorialize that.
Would that be use variance or development standard variance?
Probably doesn't matter.
I guess it's being attached to the
Yeah.
variance regardless. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, now I'm ready to entertain a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions.
I will make a motion to approve the use variance for variance 02-2024-519 North Merrill Street with the condition that a privacy fence is added to the north side of the property.
All right. All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Give us a minute to do some paperwork. To side. Okay. All right, let's look at the second one, and this was for the development standards. I think we've already taken care of the privacy fence condition on the other one, so I don't think we need to reiterate it, do we? No, okay. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to approve with conditions, or deny.
I'll make a motion to approve the development standards variances for variance 02-2024-519 North Merrill Street for accessory structure size, expansion of non-conforming structure, setback, and architectural standards.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, congratulations. All right, going back to our agenda, it looks like that concludes our business for this evening. So I am looking for a motion from one of our members to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Alright.
Aye. All right, thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everybody.
Not 2020. I know, I put 28. Thank you, Earl. That's the one that gets us out the door. That's the critical path right there, man. All right, granted.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, if so, they're gonna just not go to the outside, like those two, they're gonna match everything.